Hey, what is up, YouTube? Welcome to Play It Painted Live. It is another Saturday night stream, and I'm trying to figure out where does the green, how does one get the green to cover the screen? Does the green, just green paper? I don't care. Whatever. All right, I'm going to load up our, I'm going to load up our view screen here so that I can look at comments. And while I'm doing that, you guys feel free to look at this mess that I have in front of us, and I'll get the focus going, and hopefully we can make out some of this madness. If you're just joining the stream, welcome to Play It Painting Live. Let us know what you're painting and what you should be painting. Looks like our stream is okay. Hey, what's up, Lord Draconum? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, it looks like our stream is just okay, so we'll see how it goes. I'm going to take all these paints here, those, and get rid of them for now. So earlier today, I recorded a video of me painting some chibi, and I don't know if it's any good because I've also, like, towards this weekend, I had a bunch of commissions come in, and I'm going out of town for business in a couple of weeks, so I actually had to, pass some of it off. Luckily, Play It Painted is not just one person, believe it or not. It's actually, there's a couple of us painters, commission painters, as part of this. We'll just call it a small endeavor here. So luckily Phil stepped up and he picked up one of those for me. But the one he didn't pick up is this one here called Gloomhaven. And I'm going to stamp the bases right now. These were all like, this was kind of a pain because they were all kind of like stuck to these plastic bases here. He wanted them to have custom basing, so I had to take the, you see how jacked up my hobby knife is right now. I had to take the hobby knife and just like basically cut them off or peel them off or whatever, and it wasn't the most fun. So right now we're going to stamp all these bases. I got 18 miniatures in total. Then I have another actually have another commission in right now for Guild Ball, and they want me to paint a Harry the Hat. Harry the Hat has been missing in a number of stores for some time. So yeah, so we got Harry back in, and now I'm gonna paint that guy. I'm wondering, I actually don't have. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to stick him on this base. Unless I have another one that looks a little bit better than that one. I don't think I do, though. My table is a mess. It is really thrashed right now. I got all these. I got too many bottles on it, and I got just crud everywhere. Not a proud day for the studio. Sounds like what I do with my hero click. Okay, so you like hero clicks. Like chop them off the original base, and then you stick them on a gaming base. That makes sense. All right. So I think with these, I'm going to use this flagstone base. And it's okay. It's not my favorite base, but it should do the trick. I'm not actually charging a whole lot per mini here with Gloomhaven. Just gonna spread this out. So just gonna get what we get. This is this type of basing is really easy to paint. So I'm just gonna do that and squish that down on there. It out and get a little bit of a little flagstone base. Just plop it down there for a couple of minutes and then pull it up. And they look okay. These are gonna look fine, I think. They'll look fine. I'm just gonna reassure myself. So tonight's task is really just building these. Um, and they should look okay. I think they'll look good when they're all together. You can see, look at like that base. I really kind of thrashed. Because some of these were really hard to get off. Get off the bases. So I had to pop them off. Then I stamp the base. That's what we're doing right now. And then we're going to glue them back on to the base. All right. In the stream, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting. Tonight's task, Gloomhaven. And I'd never even heard of this game. And I think this might have been something that I saw when it was on Kickstarter and then just passed on. Not quite my aesthetic. It's seems more, it's kind of a, there's a lot of like monstrous races in this game. And I really like my fantasy stuff. I like to be primarily human looking pieces. So this didn't grab my attention. Apparently it's a fairly popular, it was a fairly popular Kickstarter, but I really don't know anything about this game. It seems like it's a dungeon crawler, maybe like a co-op or semi-co-op game, along the lines of like, was that Mantic's Dungeon Saga, Super Dungeon Explorer? There's a few of the games in that genre. So just going to keep stamping. The nice part is these are stamping super fast. And they should look fine when they're done. Because you can see, it's just real simple. The cool thing about this particular style of base is I can actually just paint the base itself like black and just paint the flagstone in like a gray or, whatever color I decide. I'll probably go with a gray or maybe even a green gray. And then we're done. I mean, that's the good part. So stamp, whoa. The other nice thing is these don't have to be like perfectly circular, perfectly even, because it'll look actually okay being on top of this like perfectly round base like that. Building things are great sometimes. I am painting up a Wildcats miniature. I'm assuming like Jim Lee Wildcats, right? That's cool. Okay, and the final bit here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these bases dry up a little bit. We're just going to do a couple of cosmetic things while we're waiting there. One is we're going to pin Harry here. Commissions going on. One is the hat commission, and the other one is Gloomhaven. So we're going to, and I haven't painted anything Guild Ball in a while. So this is kind of cool. I do have like at my feet right now, I have an entire Alchemist team still in packaging that I just have not been able to get to. I had all these other projects and it's kind of a lower priority in the grand scheme of things. Spartan and Grifter are done. Cool. So let's pin Harry here. I'm just going to use a standard, like, we'll use a standard brass pin. I think. And I can even do a little crosshair here. You know how we do. I don't know if you guys have been watching the latest videos I've been putting up. right now I'm kind of been doing a lot of like my classic style painting videos with the action sped up and just some close-up angle like this, and I've been doing those because haven't been able to do a lot of gaming. And like I said, I just got that gaming table, and that's like it's really just kind of hurting my soul. It's just the fact that I cannot seem to get good or find opportunities to get in the gaming that I'd like. That said, I did play Scythe a couple of days ago. Enjoyed it. Usually those type of like board games, it's like a more of like a Euro style game where it's like worker placement and board control, not very combative. There is combat inside, but it's a very small component of the game, which is kind of odd because building mechs are a thing in that game, and all the characters have these like animals and they're all armed and all this stuff. There's one of the characters in the game has a bow and a sniper rifle, which is hilarious. I apologize for this really squeaky pin vise. I'm too lazy to break out the what's it called right now, the drill bit. So I'm just gonna do that. But yeah, played Scythe the other day. I really enjoyed Scythe. I think I'm gonna play it again, but you got to play it with more of like the board game crowd. There are some miniature gamers that will really enjoy it, but not all miniature gamers. A lot of miniature gamers just really want to play more aggressive style games, and Scythe is more of a board control, resource control, like planning game. There's absolutely, other than passing out a few cards and things, once the game itself starts going, there's not a lot of randomness in the game. So it's not like your typical. The only reason why I really got into that, I had any sort of interest in the game, is because I saw the minis, and I thought, oh, okay, maybe it's more, a war game, or those like most hybrid board games are usually heavily combative if you look at them, right? Even something like Room 25, it has at least you're trying to kill. If you're a guard, you're trying to kill other players. So most of these other games have a combative element to them, but Scythe really just kind of plays like a Euro style board game. Just don't have that. So it definitely feels like a board game. So if you want to play a board game like I do, like I like board game mechanics. The problem I have with board games is that it just looks, to me, it's like when I see meeples and cubes out there, it just makes me sad. And I understand why they do it. There's a practicality, there's a practical reason why not all these companies put together these games with these really awesome looking minis. They want to have, and there's a lot of players that that don't want to be bothered by nice aesthetics, or maybe not bothered by it, but they don't want to pay the additional price for a game because it has minis in it. If they're happy with the mechanics, then pushing cubes around is just fine. Pushing meeples around is just fine. Obviously, that apply to me, so I need to have this kind of stuff. So let's see. I wonder if I used the right bit. Okay, good. So a couple of pins for Harry here. This is a good pin for his foot. And there's one, a decent one for his arm. So we're going with the specialty this time, because hot stuff, the thin, man, that stuff's brutal. You guys saw me. I don't know if maybe you didn't see me apply it on camera, but when you mess up with that, boy, that just burns your skin and it runs all over the place. And I needed to go. Like I need something a little more easier to control the flow of. So that's why we're going with this. And I guess I'm just going to stick him on. So I'm painting everything on flagstone basis, both of these commissions. Maybe like that. Trying to eyeball where that should be. Put that here. Okay. And that's the final hole that I have to drill with the pin vise, so you guys don't have to hear that squealing all night long. So I'm just going to put glue there. Wow, even this thick stuff, I got some of it on my finger. So there's his wrench. And let's glue him to stone base. Uh-oh. Somebody wants to talk. Well, if they want to talk to me about Star Wars, they're welcome to join me here on my feed. Because I've been kind of debating some topics here with a friend of mine for the past couple of days, and we'll get into it here on this show. Just for conversation's sake, just for fun. Where did here we go. Okay. All right. So let's involve you guys in this. And if this makes you mad, you can hit thumbs down. I don't care. It's fine. I've complained about this a couple of times on the feed. So tonight, hanging out with my wife and the two babies, and Star Wars is on TV. Episode 2. All right, Attack of the Clones was on TV, and man, what a just absolute, for me. Again, disclaimer, just my opinion. Okay, am I a hater? Maybe. I could be a hater. That's fine. I don't care. This came up actually twice in the past couple of days, because we played Scythe, right? Here's where it started. It all started with Scythe. Let me back all the way the F back, okay, and tell the story like it was. So we ended up playing Scythe. My normal, like, was a Thursday night. I wanted to game. The normal game with weren't around. So, and I wanted to play Scythe anyway, and I just don't know how receptive they are to Scythe. I guess I'm keeping that. That seems like an awful weak point. Well, yeah, let's chop it. It looks good. We're going for aesthetics over stability. So they weren't there, right? So I ended up playing Scythe with one guy who's a board gamer who really likes Scythe, and he understands Scythe. So I'm glad he was there to show us how to play the game. The other one was a staff of the LGS. who's really sweet, and I like her a lot. Um, so so we started playing. So we played Scythe, and after Scythe, and my friend Jose showed up like mid game Scythe and missed Scythe because that's what Jose does. And I'm gonna make fun of him on the stream here because I don't he might watch once in a while, but that's okay. So if you're watching right now, Jose, this is for you, buddy. To this. So, anyways, we played Scythe, and we decided after Scythe that we would go because we didn't eat dinner. Myself um, and our friend, the staff, um, we didn't eat dinner, and during the game we were talking about boba, right? And so after the game, uh, go have boba with me. So we went and got boba, um, and Jose tagged along, even though he had dinner waiting for him or some nonsense. So we went to go get boba, and on the way to getting boba, like we were arguing about boba the whole time. All right, so here we go. For those of you watching the show, do you like boba? I love boba. So obviously, um, me and well, her name's Yvonne. I don't care. I don't know if she watches this show or not. But anyways, me and Yvonne agree. We like boba. Boba's good stuff. So Jose does not like boba, but Jose always goes with me to get boba. So he just kind of goes to get boba and then complains about boba. But he doesn't, he'll get the tea, he'll get like the milk teas and all that stuff without boba. So first off, we were arguing about boba, and this is like a 2-day argument we were having, like an argument that went on for 2 days. In fact, it's still kind of going on right now about whether or not boba is good or not. I like boba. Boba is fantastic. While we're having dinner, I forget how it came up or something. I think it's because I'm not like really going to any of the nerd cons or anything this year, not like years past, that I kind of reiterated, like, look, I'm not a nerd anymore. I'm turning my card in. Like I don't subscribe to the same. It seems to me like nerddom, the whole geek nerd culture thing, like it's becoming, it's becoming so mainstream that there's now an in-group out-group dynamic to it. If you're not a nerd unless you like Harry Potter, or you're not a nerd unless you can tell me 5 of the 7 Doctor Who's or some shit. I don't even know how many Doctor Who's there are, but they came up with all this stuff, right? You're not a nerd if you have to like this, and it became a thing. Like there is I hate it when people do this too. It's like whole thing there are within a genre, within a fandom, and this, I'm not just singling out nerddom. We could be talking about board games, we could be talking about miniature games. I do this. I'm guilty of this shit too. So anyway, there's always this sort of here's what most people like, and you have to like it, or you're not considered one of them. And you can tell, like, here, I'm actually doing this to Jose over dinner because I'm telling him if he doesn't like boba, something's wrong with him. To which, Yvonne and I agree. And on the other hand, I'm telling him that I'm not a nerd because I'm no longer a nerd, is actually what I'm getting at. I'm no longer a nerd because I don't follow those conventions anymore. I don't follow nerd conventions anymore. So and I'm like, watch, I'll show you. I'll denounce my nerddom right now. And the joke I used was, I don't like Star Wars. It's like, I don't like Star Wars. But let me take it a step further. Let me expand on that. Just in case you're wondering, oh, well, you can still be a nerd. if you don't like Star Wars. Well, I don't like Firefly. There, I said it. I don't like Firefly. How about that? I don't like Firefly. I think Doctor Who is. I think Firefly and Doctor Who are like the most overrated shows ever. Yvonne was like, I still like Star Trek, and I'm like, yeah, I like Star Trek. I like Star Trek, and I like Wrath of Khan, like way more than actual like the rest of Star Trek. But like I said, I don't like Doctor Who. I don't like superhero movies. I don't even watch superhero movies anymore. I don't think that X-Men movies were any good. I liked Deadpool. That's like the only superhero movie that I can watch is like Deadpool. But I guess that's what I'm getting at. It's like, you know what? It used to be before nerd culture became a mainstream thing. It didn't give a shit like what you liked and what you didn't like. If you liked Star Wars, then you like Star Wars. And you got made fun of and you like Star Wars, but you were still friends with that dude that liked, I don't know, that was really into Terminator or really into Predator. Yeah, like me, fuck yeah. Like I like old Schwarzenegger action movies. I don't give a shit, man. I like that. Commando, give me that shit. I love that. But anyways, before a real like a mainstream, fucking BuzzFeed whatever shit it is now, there was a certain camaraderie you would have with somebody else who was just a diehard fan of some shit that people did not consider to be mainstream, right? That's that's what you shared in common with them. You should share okay, like you like comic books, cool. I like anime, cool. Oh, I don't care that much about comic books, but I respect the fact that you love anime. That's what I'm talking about, right? So when it was this whole thing, there was a mutual admiration, there was a mutual respect for you're a hardcore fan of this thing, and most people think it's weird, fucking cool, right? I like, you know what I like? I like reptiles. My son loves reptiles. We love reptiles, right? It's not entirely mainstream. It got close, Steve Irwin, all that stuff. It got close. You had Jack Hanna. You had what's that dude? Jeff Corwin. Like you had stuff like that. But here's what happened now. And Mike is on. Our friendship is in question. Real, man. I'm just being honest. Like I'm saying we're entitled to our tastes, is what I'm saying. But are we? Are we though? Like with modern quote unquote geek culture, are we? Could I go to Geek Meet tomorrow night? Which I know, Mike, you're going. That's rad. I don't think I can go. It makes me sad. But could I go to Geek Meet tomorrow night and be like, hey, you know what? Firefly, not that great a show. People would lose their shit if I said that. If I was like, you know what? The Avengers movies, they're okay. Nothing great. Nah, just no, not all that interesting. People would lose their goddamn mind if I did that. Like if I went to and that's what I'm getting at. There is an orthodoxy. There is a growing orthodoxy to geek culture, and it makes me sad because the whole thing was originally built on not being orthodox. The whole idea originally behind being a nerd or a geek or whatever was it, again, I use this word a lot, is that you were an outcast, but you were celebrated as an outcast. Like it didn't matter what you liked, You like luchador, you like wrestling, that's rad. I think it's stupid and it's fake, but we respected each other. Can you say that these days? Can you go to a board game group and say, you know what, let's break out the Monopoly? See, there's some fighting words here. But I don't know. Do you guys see what I'm getting at? It's like it has it's becoming, to me, mainstream nerddom and geekdom is becoming everything that it once hated about mainstream society. Was that there was this group thing, was that there's a correct way of doing something, and there are specific things that you like and you don't like. That's anti nerd, man. It is. It's anti that is anti what this used to be about. But I don't know. Am I being too sanctimonious? Probably. Do I just want to talk shit about Star Wars? Absolutely. Yeah. I don't like Star Wars, man. I don't I'm in an argument with Jose right now on text. Okay. Damien's in on this too. I used to dislike the prequels, but then I stopped giving a fuck. I love everything, all the movies, all the animes, all the new, now defunct lore from the video games, even the goddamn Ewok movies. That's cool. That's cool. It is. It is cool. It's cool that you like that, but like it's equally cool for you to like that as for me to say it's overrated. Um, and like I'm almost to the point where I'm passionately against Star Wars. I'm sorry. I know, Tori Lang watches the feed. A friend, I consider him a friend of mine, and he loves Star Wars. And Damien right there, he loves Star Wars too. I A lot of people I know love Star Wars, like the big Star Wars fans. I'm just gonna go there. I'm gonna go there. I loathe Whovians, but they're part of geek culture. Yeah. Like, but let me ask you this, dude. Like, is it more what's more acceptable in geek culture right now? Is saying, I love Doctor Who, and my favorite Doctor is the fifth Doctor, not the seventh Doctor, or what? They get into that shit. Like they get into that argument, and I'm like, there's one dude's a British dude, the other dude's. I don't care. I don't care. When are the trash cans coming? They fight trash cans. Okay, cool. And then they're in yeah, look, they're in a call box. Wow, that's yeah. I don't care. I can walk into the thing, like and say, I don't like this. I It doesn't appeal to me. It doesn't speak to me. I don't give a shit. I don't like it. People will lose their shit. Like people will freak out over that for me saying I don't like something, you know? Um but yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like I think it's okay. It's okay to not like something that is considered, sacrosanct amongst the nerds. And again, I'm kind of using this whole idea as a justification for me saying, look, I'm no longer a nerd. I'm not. If this is what it means, I have to like this and this and this because it's nerdy, because it's sci-fi, it's geeky, you guys. Like if I'm required to like shit, then no. I turn my card in. I'm completely disenfranchised from Star Wars. I like other shit. I love RoboCop. I don't care. There's all kinds of shit that I like, but that's what I'm saying. Like there's some like no, this is sacrosanct. Like you have to like this. No, I don't. I don't like this. And if saying that you have to be into this shit and this shit because you're a nerd, then I'm out. I'm out, man. Like I don't go ahead. I don't count anymore. That's fine. I will live on the outs of nerddom or whatever you want to call it. It's British television. It's a hard pill to swallow for us impatient Americans. It's funny. Well, let's see. British TV that I love. I gotta think about it. Is there any British TV that I really love? I've never really. No, can't really say I've. Nothing comes to mind immediately. But I've heard some of my close friends are big Whovians and big Star Wars guys and all this, and we have these kinds of arguments. Like we have these arguments all the time. at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not going to hate on them for liking it, but don't. I guess what I'm saying is, it's shitty that that there are certain ones that are considered you have to like this and not like and like you have to like this and this to be a quote unquote nerd. Like Red Dwarf is British. Never watched that one either. But yeah, I don't know. Star Wars bothers me though. It really does. And I'm just gonna go there, and we're just gonna talk about it. Theory. I have an operating working theory right now that I feel like the world is dumber because of Star Wars. All right, there. I just said it. I said it. I feel like the world is dumber because of Star Wars. And let me explain. And I'm only talking about the movies because I can't talk about. Everyone says, "Oh, you got to watch the Clone Wars animated series." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. I don't have time for that shit." Okay, I'm just gonna be an old guy, judgmental, pulling up my my suspenders and on the side here, and I'm just gonna say it. Here's why. The movies, the way I look at the movies, I think the society is worse off from Star Wars, and let me explain. Star Wars, in its overall theme, is about good and evil, good guys and bad guys, and how they're represented visually. And ultimately, it's pretty damn flat. It's pretty damn flat. It teaches people not to understand villains and they had such a huge opportunity to do it, right? Like the original, the episodes 4, 5, and 6, which are really the good Star Wars, according to me. And this is just according to me, so it doesn't matter. Like, we can argue 7 if you want, but 4, 5, and 6 to me that's good Star Wars. That's the Star Wars I grew up with. Me, I don't know. Am I trapped in my own nostalgia? Maybe. But anyways, 4, 5, and 6 were good, entertaining movies. And you had like the bad guy. One of the main draws to the entire franchise, in my opinion, is Darth Vader. Like, I would not even say Star Wars is good. Like, I couldn't even say Star Wars is not awful unless we're talking Darth Vader, right? For me, Star Wars, what makes a good Star Wars movie is Darth Vader, number one. First and foremost, Darth Vader, John Williams score, Harrison Ford. There you go. Sort of, right? Harrison Ford and actually having some cool shit going on, right? That's what Star Wars is to me. That's how you make a good Star Wars movie. And I say this about all movies. The bad guys make the movie. The bad guys make the movie. Okay? Bad guys. Are we still with it? Bad guys make the movie. And in today's modern storytelling age, nobody who is in charge or involved with a major Hollywood picture has a fucking clue on how to craft a good bad guy. That's where it is. Darth Vader was the bad guy in his day. Vader was the bad guy. Darth Vader made Star Wars. For me, right? I rooted for Vader. I didn't give a shit. I rooted for Vader. Who cares about the Jedi? Vader, man. Vader had it down. But anyway. So with the prequels, okay, we're gonna tackle the origin of Darth Vader. And I lost my shit. And I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be amazing. They're gonna talk about the origins of Darth Vader. And that, to me, that was like, oh my, that's what we want. We want that is somebody that you really have to like. You don't even have to like the good guy in a movie. This is my personal opinion. You don't have to like the good guy in a movie. You don't even need to give a shit who the good guy is. In fact, I prefer movies where you don't even really like the good guy. Case in point, Hero with Dustin Hoffman. Watch that shit. That's a good movie. Solid point. Watch that shit. But anyway, you don't really have to like the good guy. Look at The Matrix, right? Agent Smith, fucking love Agent Smith. He's amazing. He's awesome. Neo, bleh, don't really care, right? I mean, if you look at the Roger Moore James Bond movies, Roger Moore, fucking Jaws in that movie, the bad guys during that time, they made the movie. Look at Batman. Look at the good Batmans. The good Batmans have they have good bad guys that you can relate to, that you can like. The whole point of a movie to show you this contrast of, oh my God, I have this conflict, because you should have some conflict in watching a movie about conflict. Hey, this guy's a good guy and this guy's the bad guy, but I have to root for the good guy, but man, I really like the bad guy. Look at Breaking Bad, god damn it. Like, look at the shit that was really good. Look at what is really good in storytelling. What is really good in storytelling is when they have a villain, when they have an antagonist that you have an emotional attachment to. That's a fact. How you get at a good film, a good story. You have, in my opinion, you have to like the bad guy. He has to be likable. And what does Star Wars do? This is good guy, this is bad guy. Pew, 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 pew. That's all it is. It's stupid. It's stupid. They had a chance to fix the whole franchise. They had a chance to make something really good because they did the prequels. And you're like, oh, cool. Like Anakin Skywalker, he should have been this guy that we really liked and we were really rooting for. And what a tragic fall for this guy, that he ends up betraying his mentor and his best friend, and he murders the woman that he loves, and he just has such this gigantic fall, and he's just such a tragic hero. And then at the end of episode 6, he redeems himself. He saves his son. He throws Emperor Palpatine off of the balcony. You see what I'm saying? Like, they had a chance to make us like I already love Darth Vader, and they had a chance to make us just die over Vader. And what did they do? What did they do with the prequels? They used some kid that used to sell Welch's grape jelly to tell us that, can I be a Jedi, please, Mom? Please? Can I go sleep over at Timmy's house, please? That's what we got for Darth Vader. Best fucking bad guy of all time. That's what we got. Darth fucking Vader. Best movies you've ever seen. And think about some of the most awesome bad guys you've ever come across, right? Darth Vader, right? Look at Star Trek. Ricardo Montalban as Khan. Come on, man. Like, look at that shit. There you go. That is a good bad guy. Then you look at Die Hard, Hans Gruber. Hans Gruber, dude, you got to put that shit in there. Hans Gruber. These are good movies. This is like, look at foreign movies. Look at Chow Yun-Fat movie. Look at The Killer, dude. Look at The Killer, right? Chow Yun-Fat, he's the bad guy. You love him. You want him to live. You want him to succeed. And when he fails, it's so tragic because you're like, oh, but I understand. But oh, look at Walter White. Do you understand that this is my central point in all of this? This is why superheroes movies suck so bad. They cannot and will not. Hollywood does not understand how to make a bad guy. They do not understand how to make an antagonist. I'm just saying. That's why society is worse off for Star Wars, because we find things so much like, this is good guy, this is bad guy. So in today's society, we're looking for whoever is wielding the fucking red lightsaber. And then he's always wrong. He's always bad. That's what I'm talking about. That's why society is worse off, because people think it's really fucking Star Wars. People think that life is really as oversimplified and bad as Star Wars. Take that rant for what you will. take it for for whatever you think, but it really is. Society is worse off by allowing 7 Fast and Furious movies. Hey, but Tokyo Drift. I'm just kidding. I've never watched more than 31 seconds of any Fast and Furious movie. That was my level of interest in such a franchise. I've never watched more than 31 seconds of any of those movies. Now, what do you think? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think what do you think about my whole shtick over the antagonist? I think the antagonist is so important. I think the antagonist is the story. If you want to look at, oh my gosh, look at Paradise Lost. Look at the who is a cooler character than Satan? Honestly, look at the bad guys. The bad guys, they're so much more interesting. They're so much more interesting to the story. And especially if my whole thing with Star Wars is there's this empire. The empire. Oh, the empire, they're the bad guys. They're the bad guys. If the empire was that big and that freaking powerful, there should be people that love the empire. There should be people, because you think about the amount of people that are under the rule of the empire, under the thumb of the empire. And you mean to tell me how many movies we've done here that you can't produce a single non-militant that loves the empire? Is that what you're telling me? That's stupid. That's a stupid world. It's just dumb. It doesn't breathe. That story doesn't breathe. Star Wars could be, look at episode 7. Episode 7 could have been so cool because you could have actually villainized the rebellion. You had an opportunity there, right? They won in episode 6. And you go to episode 7, and for some reason, oh, we're still the bad guys at the First Order, you're the good guys. Come on, give me a freaking break. What about the concept of redemption? Well, that's the thing. See, when you have a likable antagonist, a Walter White, we'll just use Walter White because he's freaking awesome. When you have a Walter White, you're questioning him. You want to follow him. You want him. There are times when you want, okay, this person is worse than Walter White. I need Walter White to defeat this person. But ultimately, and after every single trial, you might be thinking, hey, is this the time that he's really going to turn it around? Is he gonna redeem himself? Is he gonna make good? That's a great story to tell. But in order to have redemption, there has to be some allure. There has to be some moral confusion. There has to be some actual conflict going on. At least for me, the viewer, if I'm watching this, I need to wonder, well, do we really hate the Empire that much? Yeah, the Empire blew up some planets, and the First Order blew up a whole damn system. But what kind of context do we have for that? Were there other factions? Were there other entities prior to the Empire that were doing worse than blowing up a planet? Maybe there were. Maybe the Empire, does a lot of good on other planets that we don't know about. Maybe I'm just making shit up. But you see what I'm saying? There needs to be enough of a healthy conflict there. There needs to be a moral conflict there. Otherwise, it's just so flat and so stupid when it boils down to it. Those are good guys. These are bad guys. It's choo choo choo. I expect that kind of polarity from G.I. Joe. I expect that from G.I. Joe. But if you're going to tell me, and I've seen these articles on whatever you want to, Nerdist or IO9 or whatever, Kotaku, where they get highfalutin shit, like when they talk like high morality and try to relate it to Star Wars and other. That's what I'm talking about. Just come on. Do you not understand how villainy works? The people that you love and adore the most that you don't know, a lot of those people, those are the people that are fucking you over the hardest. Like, you need to know that. You need to know that. If you've been, I'm in the business world. I'm in the private sector. I know that. I know that the biggest prick in any like sales meeting or anything that I'm in is the dude I like the most. The guy that's there that's like, okay, I'm going to go have a beer with that dude afterwards because I like him. He's cool. I want to be that guy. The guy's a freaking Tyler Durden. I like that guy. Please ball. All right. That guy is, he's not looking out for my best interest. That guy is, he's there to take and take and take. That's how antagonists really work. Those are the most effective antagonists. And if you're going to do a movie story, an epic conflict between good and evil, well, guess what? You better have that evil part down. And I just don't feel like anybody understands that. I don't feel like anybody in modern day storytelling or filmmaking, with a couple of exceptions, I mentioned them here, I don't think they get that. I don't think they understand that concept. Joker's my favorite villain. He's chaos. I like Joker a lot too, believe it or not. I mean, Joker, he's some really just wild, he's just a wild ride. And you can enjoy that about a villain too. And you can kind of like look at Harley Quinn. That's like, granted, I mostly like her for the costuming because I'm a shallow bastard, but there is something and deeply disturbing about those two characters and their relationship. And I love that. And look at Batman. There's times when you're like, Batman, is he sometimes you just hate Batman. And the public hates Batman. Look at comics do this pretty well. Like they can make their heroes hated by the mainstream, and it's believable and it makes sense. Joker's okay. Venom, an interesting character too. And that's a character that's more of an anti-villain. Anti-villains are cool too. I'm sorry, not anti-villain. Anti-hero. Anti-heroes are cool too. Sorry, getting late, and I've just been rambling. I was supposed to do voiceover for that Chibi video tonight. It's not going to happen because we talked about Star Wars. Oh, man. So now, yeah. Honestly, you can disagree with me about Star Wars, and you can still like Star Wars, and it's cool. But those are my two major things. One, we need to give up this idea of there being an orthodox geekdom. And actually, otherwise, I'm out. I'm not a geek. There's just too many things I disagree with. Too many things that I don't like that everybody else likes that says, oh, you gotta like this. I like boba. I love Spam. Most people I know don't like Spam. I think it's delicious. I had Spam tonight. I don't care. But yeah. Just talking that mess, man. You know me. I'm just gonna talk trash. That's sometimes I got a different take on things. That's all. I'm just looking at from a different angle. And I don't know if I'm right. I just think it bears considering. This is an inappropriate miniature. I don't even know. Hold on. Let me stick him on his base. Get him together because I don't know what the hell is going on here. Look at that guy. Am I the only one that's seeing that? Like, what's the problem? What is that? Anyway, give these a minute to dry. We'll do a little priming. Oh, man. I'm sorry, Mike. Hey, man, I love you, man, but I just had to. I just gotta speak my mind. Man, I do not like Star Wars. I think Star Wars had such an opportunity. This is not a beer. This is green tea. I should have a beer. I should be having a beer after this. But hey Mike, if I do end up at Geek Meet tomorrow night, which is maybe only like a 10% chance, let's have a beer. I will buy you a beer, and you can tell me how wrong I am about Star Wars. No, seriously, like we can. Like you heard me out on this thing, but what do you guys think about that? Like, that's been my thing in my mind, in my daydream of I'm gonna make a movie. Like if I ever make a movie, I'm gonna make for damn sure to spend most of my sort of creative energy on crafting a villain and really kind of start there, because that's just for me, that's everything. Like for me, that's the story. The story is the villain, the guy that you were rooting for. And what's really cool is I like those stories where the guy that you're rooting for realizes, at some point that he's the villain, and that the dick that you know that he and the audience hated this whole time, that person's actually right, and that person's actually trying to do the right thing. That's, to me, that's a story. That's a story. You want to do a redemption story. I think you can do something like that. Somebody that realizes, hey, I was on the wrong side actually. And while while we were celebrating win after win after win over you, we didn't realize how much damage we were actually doing. You know what I mean? That's a story. Um, I'm an older geek, but I'm happy that movies are being made. Yeah, and actually, I've heard that argument too, from another guy that was, he's a big Ghostbuster fan, and I'm not even going to talk about like the whole feminist angle and what happened there, but we got to talking about it, and it was like, well, it's objectively an inferior movie, right? Even if you liked, and that's again just an opinion, whatever. But we both kind of saw that, at least saw some validity in that point, that it's objectively an inferior movie. And his point to that was, that's okay. That's okay if it's inferior, because he's kind of saying what you're saying. He's happy that the franchise is still alive. I don't know how happy he is now. We'll see what they do with that franchise, but no, that I'd heard that argument, and now we're gonna get Star Wars movies every year, and who knows? Maybe someone up there will understand the rant that I just gave and will really try to do something with the movie, and really try to tell a story of like, hey, here's a lot of people that were benefiting from the Empire, and that really, their lives are better because of the Empire, and they're safe because of the Empire. And here come these fucking rebels to come ruin it. Tell that side, dude. Like, make it a conflict, because as it is right now, it's just so elementary. It's just so stupid. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Like, that's not. Anyway, anyway, I'll leave it alone now, unless Jose texted me back. We can go back to agreeing on Boba. A good thing. Boba is still wonderful. Ah, man. Yeah, it feels, I'll tell you something. It feels better. It feels better having cleared the air there, because, so many people like, oh, yeah, Octave, can you paint my Star Wars? It's so fun. Yeah, can you paint my Star Wars? Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of cool shit I like about Star Wars. Let's get into stuff I like about Star Wars. You ready? Darth Vader, we already talked about. I like Han Solo, or I liked him. I like it when Yoda and R2-D2 get in a fight. I like that. I would have to say the native inhabitants of Tatooine I really like. So I'm talking Jawas, Tusken Raiders. I love the Tusken Raiders. I think Tusken Raiders are so damn cool. When that Star Wars, the Star Wars miniature game came out, I forget what it's called. That was like the first mini I wanted. I was like, I want to paint Tusken Raiders. You know, holding up those little rifles, shooting at pod racers. Come on, it's freaking awesome. Love Tusken Raiders. Rhodians, I like. Greedo, I like that. I like IG-88 and the bounty hunters. I don't know. What else do we like? I like it when the other C-3PO unit, the other whatever, when he runs into that unit at Cloud City and he goes, Ichuta! And he goes, how rude. I love that. So there's stuff. I love the cleaning robot that does it. Burp, 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 burp. See? There's stuff about Star Wars I like. What else? I gotta think. The new trilogy, the prequels had I like Darth Maul. That's a good one. The prequels had a cast that I really liked, but that was kind of part of the pain. Was like you're seeing all these amazing actors that you love from all this other stuff, and they're just awful because of directing and or writing and or Lucas. Ewan McGregor you can see like even in the worst circumstances, he's still going to put up a decent job. So that's cool. But feel bad for, I think by a landslide, here's another point that we could argue. But I think by a landslide, Natalie Portman is the hottest female lead in any of the Star Wars films. But having to watch episode 2 with that creepy Hayden Christensen looking at her, and like she looked like she was actually being like abused when she had to make out with that guy. Like the look on her face, she's like, do I really have to do this? Yeah. But yeah, she's the nicest looking one to for the eyes on the whole Star Wars franchise. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that they at least put, here we go. Go ahead and get mad at me, dude. Go ahead and get mad. I don't think Daisy Ridley's that very, very attractive, and I don't think Felicity Jones is very attractive. Sorry. Neither one of them are Portman level. But anyways, just me. And if that offends you, then I'm being shallow and just like, oh yeah, Portman's hot. Sorry, not sorry. I don't care. Doesn't matter. I do feel bad for Hayden Christensen though, because I'm sure he's a good kid, but man, that was just painful to watch. Man. What else did I like? I said Ewan McGregor. I like him. Here's another thing that I've kind of mentioned to my wife a couple times watching episode 2. It would make more sense if Obi-Wan was the passionate one and Vader was this like calm, collective guy that was just so damn sharp, but you just weren't sure what angle he was going to hit you from. You know what I mean? That would have been cool, man. That would have been awesome. I'm imagining like if you watched like LA Confidential, Obi-Wan being more like a Bud White type character, and Anakin being more like what's his name, Guy Pearce's character, and they kind of have to work together like that. And Guy Pearce's character is not quite on the level. Like, that's, to me, that would have worked better. Why did they try to make Anakin like this? Like, well, I think that's one of the other things that we learned. Since episode 6, the movies made past episode 6, apparently the only way to make a bad guy is to make some like emo brat. Because that's what we got in episode 7. Right? It's like they just act like emo kids that just his mascara melted off in the car. That's and again, I don't care if that offended you. I don't care. But yeah, that's my problem. But anyway, what else did we like? Christopher Lee. Liked Christopher Lee. I think they really had potential, with Jar Jar starting, basically forming the Empire. I think they had potential to do something really cool there, like turn him into a true bad guy. But there you go. I mean, there's a guy that thought he was doing right, and he really just sort of ruined the galaxy for everybody. Like, that's kind of cool. You could have done something with that. I don't know. What else? Anything else I really like about the prequel movies? I hated the stylized fighting in the prequels. I thought it was so awful. That's one thing that they did better. One of the things that they did better in episode 7. Got away from just this like baton twirling, essentially. I felt like Jedi were just color guard. As it was so stupid. But in episode 7, they went back to make it feel like it is an actual fight. Make the choreography a little unwieldy. Make it look realistic. Little Boba Fett, I thought was kind of cool. Well, angry little Islander kid. I thought it was kind of cool. Anything else I really liked about the... Yeah, we already talked Darth Maul. I do like Darth Maul. Dooku I liked. Gotta think here. That might have been it, dude. Love the score, obviously. For all the Star Wars movies. Anything else? Dooku was someone who thought he was doing right. That's true. He was. But he was also, he was also kind of like outwardly bad. But that, you could make that point. We could also make fun of his name because that's an awful name. There are actually a lot of awful. Yeah, Grievous. You didn't mind Grievous? Yeah, I mean, he didn't bother me other than his name. That's another thing I don't like about Star Wars. It's like, it's too outwardly apparent to tell who you should like and not like based on their names. You don't just go around calling yourself General Grievous and expect to be admired. But I do think it would be cool to have in that universe to have true villains who, they make it so hard because they're not, they try to stand on a moral platform and say, see how barbaric the Jedis are. If you don't say anything, if you say something about them, or if you stand against their cause, then they cut your head off with a lightsaber. Like, that would be cool if there was a bad guy that was like that just controlled public opinion that way. That's like, yeah, and they kind of did that. They kind of tried to villainize the Jedi Council a little bit, but it just didn't come off clear in the prequel movies. But I do really I think that there are people in society today that are just so dumb that they think Star Wars is a real thing, and they operate around belief systems from Star Wars, to think that they should be able, that they can clearly identify who is good and who is bad, and polarize all of their worldview into that. That's a scary thought, man. I don't know if you guys saw that news story about, that university or whatever that banned Star Wars costumes because, stormtroopers are Nazi, uh, evoke Nazi imagery. And you're like, where the hell have you been, dude? Stormtroopers are a direct reference to Nazis. You want to know where they got the word stormtrooper from? Look it up. That's what I'm saying. That's how stupid our world has become. It's like, oh, you can't use Star Wars because that reminds me of Nazis. Yeah, where do you think they got that from? You idiot. Stupid crap like that. I don't know. I find the whole thing to be a little embarrassing, but whatever. I'm just tired of the go to university now to become less intelligent. I agree with that. Dude, I totally agree with that. I got Lizzie on board to see that. It took a while. For her to see it. I had to just keep sharing stuff over and over and over again. And she would say, and when she started to see that was what's going on in universities, then the excuse was, well, that's just those hyper liberal universities. They've always been kind of weird. And then in this past year, see some of that ideology spill out into the mainstream, I think is starting to raise eyebrows a little bit, Wow, I'm being extremely wasteful with this primer. But yeah, I will tell you though, that's a little cathartic for me to be able to finally say that out loud. Yes, I think Star Wars has made us dumber as a society. I'm just going to say it. But along those lines, a lot of other stuff has made us dumber as a society. So don't take it personally, Star Wars. Cell phones have made us dumber as a society. Marketing, mass marketing, has made us like intellectually crippled as a society because of mass marketing. So you can't just say it's Star Wars, but I do feel like Star Wars has sort of polarized a younger generation to try to see the world in these super oversimplified terms. You know, 10, 20 years ago, in the 90s, it wasn't even cool to call yourself a Democrat or a Republican. They would just say, there's one of Chris Rock's stand-ups, one of his more popular stand-ups was, I'm not going to call myself a Democrat or Republican. I just make up my damn mind by looking at the issue individually. And how rare is that these days? No matter what side you're on, you have to recognize that how partisan the people are on your side. And it's disgusting. It's like, I'm just going to swallow the whole thing and even back stuff that I know is to be wrong. Just because it's quote unquote my side. That's what I'm talking about with Star Wars and this whole, you're either a good guy or a bad guy. That's the problem I have with it. I'm trying to get my mojo on to make some mega knobs, but wow, keeps being a thing. Ooh. How do you even have time for an MMO these days, man? Especially that one. Jeez. That's just a lot of hours gone, dude. That's all. I just wish, for me personally, I wish individualism came back. Because I think that's one of the ways to combating all this crap that we all have to deal with now on a daily basis, is that we're just labeling sides and we're labeling groups and large swaths of the population of the people around us. Like, we just throw these giant labels at them, and then we label them good, bad, moral, immoral, and kind of operate around those just painfully oversimplified and stupid assumptions. That's all I'm saying. And I do feel like, again, Star Wars is sort of symptomatic of that, because Star Wars presents the world in such an easy to digest, polarized viewpoint. Without even, no point does the audience ever question whether or not they're rooting for the right team. Or at least, I should say, at no point is the audience directly challenged to consider that. Because I'll tell you for a fact, after I watched Empire and Return of the Jedi and all that shit, and I went back and watched the whole thing again. And I know they blew up a goddamn planet. I get that. But I really had to question. I'm like, well, how do we know? How do we really know that the Empire is as bad as we're supposed to believe it is? And how do we really know that the rebellion is really going to be a better alternative to the Empire? Do we know that? We're not given any guarantee of that. So why the hell do I have to think these are the good guys and those are the bad guys? And I'm being serious here. Like, why do I have to believe that? Because I don't believe that now. I'm like skeptical. Look at what happened. Look at what happened with, you can actually make this argument based on episode 7 alone, that, okay, they defeated the Empire, right? But then they immediately, then the Republic just fell immediately into disrepair. Worse empire started to grow, and even more hateful empire started to grow. And not only did they blow up planets, they blew up an entire solar system. Blew up an entire system of planets with their weapon. So you mean to tell me that the guys that won in episode 6 really just paved the way for worse bad guys in episode 7? So how can you say that the Empire was bad, right? I'm going to put this in some real shitty terms for you in a second. Some real shitty terms, right? Oh my God, I don't know. I might get thrown off YouTube for saying shit like this. But it would be like, I don't know, we'll call it 2001, 2002. We go in, invade a country, overthrow a dictator, turn that country to, like, just burn it to ashes, to the ground, and look at the state of the world post that action. Really? Really? Man, it's all perspective, you know? But the Star Wars perspective, and the reason why I have my viewpoint, is because of that. Because it's like, the world is just not that simple, and people are are you from just this painfully oversimplified lens, and that shit is scary. That is scary. I don't know. Think I'm nuts for saying shit like that? Cool. I didn't say I never promised good insight. I just promised insight. But do I have a point? Let me know. Or am I just talking mess again because it's late at night and I can't get my gray to spray out the way I hope it would spray out? Oh man, the softer plastics bug me. And the point of my comment wasn't to get overtly political, because I hate that shit. I don't want to talk about it, even though I do every now and then talk about it. But that wasn't the point of my little rant there. Woo! Getting a lot of clogging. Getting a lot of clogging in my airbrush. Why do I have to be such a contrarian? It's true. I will admit to that. Sometimes I think it's in my nature sometimes just to be the voice of dissent. When I hear too many people saying the same thing, then I start to think that they're all stupid. And then I start to look at the other side and go, are they stupid? And if I'm being honest, I would say more often than not, I come to that conclusion. Like, yeah, they are being stupid. They're not looking at this objectively. And maybe that is why I am the way I am. That could be why, in the I was definitely more left leaning because the status quo is a more conservative right, a more conservative religious right. So I was contrary to that. And these days, I'm still quite contrary to what I would consider to be the popular opinion. And I find myself on the other side of that spectrum. Because I think, to me, the argument really isn't left or right. It's really authoritarian versus libertarian. That's me, and I've always been more individual rights and liberties. I've always kind of been on that side. And it doesn't matter, whether or not you're using a religious text or feelings to justify your moral superiority. I don't give a shit. I'm a staunch defender of your individual right to do things and not screw with other people. Man, I am just having the worst time right now with this clogging. Yep, still a lot of priming to do here. I'm going to stop and clean out the airbrush a little bit. Clean it out because I'm getting a lot of clogging. I do appreciate you guys at least sitting through that that earlier rant. Those of you who have survived the entire ordeal, thank you. I appreciate that. Dude, that's tough, man. Imagine me walking like in the middle of a Comic-Con and saying, yeah, I don't just think Star Wars sucks. I think it's dumbed us all down as a society. Oh, man. Yeah. Imagine the freak out, though. Imagine the freak out. Man. That's just, and that's not even trolling, to make a somewhat cogent point, I don't know what to think of these minis yet. They're unusual. But I don't know if I like them or not. They look more like, orcs and goblins. I guess if if we were to relate these to WoW, looks like all the character types are for Horde. I cannot get this to, man, can't get it to spray right. Do they have exposed clitorati? No. No, they do not. That is the shame of it all, isn't there? Isn't it? Wow, I cannot get this to. There's some real. I only have 6 minis to go, and it's, well, 7. Hold on, getting some real big problems here with the tip clogging, the needle clogging. Clean it out a little bit. Woo. Well, that's bad. Jesus. So yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Am I to be excommunicated from the holy Roman Order of geeks and nerds because of my opinions? Wow. Cannot get this to. There you go. Yeah, I think I cleared it. Finally. That was a tough one. Really? Everyone has an opinion. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Woo. That one just basically came out. All white. Almost done with the gray primer. Not yet. I can keep my card. Thank you, sir. Until I really go after another franchise, right? What if I told you I thought Harry Potter was stupid? Am I out then? Am I out for good? I think you underestimate society's ability to self-retard without Star Wars. Fair enough. I mean, I do think it's maybe not the movie itself is to blame, but it is kind of indicative of how oversimplified people look at society. I do think that in a lot of people's minds, because the word Nazi gets thrown around so much, I think in people's minds they really do. Some of them really do feel like we just elected the empire. That's probably a little more polite way of saying it other than Nazis, but and I'm not. That isn't to say that I think that leaders are benevolent, because I will never believe our leaders are benevolent. That doesn't have to be. That is, in my experience, that has never been relegated to one party or another. All right. So there we go. All that's done. Now I got to clean the airbrush here. Harry Potter. I don't care about Harry Potter. Harry Potter is okay. Fucking Firefly fans irk me. Harry Potter can be fun at times. I'm not saying it. You know, I think Harry Potter is probably an ignorant spot for me because full disclosure, I have never read a Harry Potter book, and I haven't sat through 15 minutes of a Harry Potter movie. So I don't. So, and a lot of people are saying, hey, it's really good, whatever. I saw enough. Well, actually, I saw some Harry Potter on a plane. So I guess maybe I sat through maybe like almost 30 minutes of a Harry Potter movie, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. So it could be that could just be a blind spot of mine that I don't Harry Potter there. I should actually do just a white spot on these models. Where's my new? I thought I bought a new bottle of white primer. It's over here somewhere. Nope. And where'd it go? Whoa, hold on one sec, guys. Here we go. Well, this is really caught on there. Okay. Here we go. All right, yeah, I picked up some new white primer, so I can just do gray, black, or black, gray, and then white. I like Firefly, not a diehard fan. Watched the movies, and then I was like, it was okay. I think the term fan is usually a thing that gets people in trouble because you get into levels and hierarchy. Who bleeds the fandom? Yeah, I mean, one of the things I always bear in mind too is that the word fanatic is derived from fan, or possibly the other way around, but they're associated. That's it. That's all I had to do. Nice. I think so. With this type of commission where everything is a character, there's no that I probably am going to do fairly extensive color blocking on these models, especially since a lot of them are well, they're all kind of monstrous creatures. I don't know if there is a human in here. I'm gonna have to look at them. Let me turn off this airbrush once and for all. I will say I like a character. Batman fans versus Superman fans. Oh my gosh, I watched maybe 45 minutes of Batman versus Superman. Wow, was that movie just awful. It was, to me, it was so bad because the movie was trying to take itself really seriously, and it never really rung true for me. It never really held any footing. I think it's because just a number of things, and it was taking itself way too seriously. I don't know that I was buying Ben Affleck. It just, I don't know. And I'll tell you what I really hated about Batman v Superman was here we go with the villain, Jesse Eisenberg or whatever. as Lex Luthor. Ah, that was major cringe. Jesse Eisenberg is. Uh, I'll just tell you, I think he's horrible. I think he's awful. I only liked him in the Facebook movie. That was the only movie that he ever made sense to me. The minute they started putting him in other things, or like he's like the charismatic magician guy, and he's look at how cool Jesse Eisenberg. That guy is awful. Like he they have to. I'm sorry. You got to typecast that guy. You got to typecast that guy. You can't have that guy playing like hyper charismatic egomaniac dudes. He gets to be Zuckerberg. He can be Jared from Subway. I don't know. He can be loathsome. He can be loathsome dudes, and I buy that. Him as Lex Luthor? That's terrible. That was just awful. Who the hell made that decision? Lex Luthor, really cool character. And yeah, he works for characters that are quirky. And he was trying to be like deep and freaking oh my god, and it just was not working. It was not working. It never got off the ground with me. And that movie was ridiculous. And I will say this too, like what's her name? What's her name? Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I thought was kind of cool. I thought, okay, I'm like, when I first saw pictures of her, okay, here's the thing. Here we go. Canvas back me up in this, I'm sure. Like Wonder Woman, I grew up watching Linda Carter as Wonder Woman, and let me tell you, that made me a man, right? Linda Carter is one, like they don't make them like that. They do not make them like that. Oh my god. You know what's up. My wife would do Linda Carter. That's how hot Linda Carter is. Like that's anyway. Grew up on Linda Carter. Gal Gadot comes out and they're like, oh, here's the new Wonder Woman. And I'm skeptical. And I'm like, yeah, but you had Linda Carter and now we're, and Gal Gadot, she's attractive. Don't get me wrong. She's attractive. As Wonder Woman, I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. This could work, right? This is kind of cool. And I was into it. And then they started fighting, what's the guy's name? I forget. Doomsday or whatever the shit that guy's name is. I forget his name. They started fighting that dude. You see Superman is like getting punched around and he's having a tough time, and Batman, he can't even like be there. Like Batman can't even be in the same zip code because that's how freaking epic this fight is, right? We're talking God level fight, Dragon Ball Z shit going on, right? All this shit is going on. Like he wasn't even invited to the party, really. And then you had Wonder Woman who's got a smile on her face and I get it, you're trying to make her strong, but that's stupid pandering. That was stupid pandering. Like, oh, let's just make her look like she's having a good time. Like she's just so excited to be in this fight and all this shit. That's the fight with the boss. That's one of the things that we like about superheroes is, yeah, they can handle shit that we can't handle 90% of the time. And then at the end of the movie, they're supposed to face their nemesis where they're not sure, where they're vulnerable, where they're getting beat to the ground. Like, she walks away from that fight like, like she'd just been gardening or, and that's a problem I'm having. It's, yes, Hollywood, we want to have strong female characters. Yes, of course we do. But have you seen like Ripley escape an alien movie and be like, oh yeah, she was smiling. She ran into the Queen Alien and she jumped into the lift and she was like, "Get your hands off her, you bitch!" and laughed and then like casually hopped out of the loader and said, "Don't worry, Newt. That was fun." That's what I'm talking about. Has the filmmakers gone just that stupid that they can't even do a conflict. They can't even yeah, that's the like you want the if the heroes win, you want it to feel like they barely won, like, oh my god, at any point they could have died. And obviously Superman quote unquote dies in that fight, and they're like kind of sad about it, right? But Wonder Woman was like, ha, I'm Wonder Woman, this is great. Yeah, this is great. This is the Mary Sue shit that people are talking about with episode 7, right? That Ray is a Mary Sue. And I watched episode 7 and I was like, yeah, she's better than Han Solo at flying the Millennium Falcon after 15 seconds of flying the Millennium Falcon. Like that's the problem. That's the problem. Like, that's almost anti-feminist to me. To me, that's like insulting as shit. Is like, and it's gonna make for some really bad storytelling when you have an agenda. And don't get me wrong. Do I think we need to see, you know, powerful female roles? Yes, we do. And but I would argue that we've seen them, and there is good storytelling that you can incorporate strong female leads in, and especially when you start to show the uh, some actual, like, more realistic ways in which women are much stronger than men. um, then that's good storytelling, and you can weave it into good storytelling. And what we have here is just sad. It's sad. It's demeaning. It's like it's insulting. Like, um, I'm an Asian person, right? I'm an Asian dude. Now imagine if someone considered that like a big problem, that there aren't enough strong Asian people or strong Asian men in Hollywood movies, because there's just Asian dudes in Hollywood movies, because you know most of us are to be engineers or doctors or some shit like that. It's just different career choice. I don't know. But what I'm getting at, like, imagine if they were like, oh, see, that character's a strong Asian character. That's fucking stupid. That's stupid. That's demeaning. I'm gonna punch someone in the face if they came. Did you see? Did you see? What's his name? Donnie Yen in Rogue One. He's a strong Asian. I would punch them in the face and say, shut up, shut up. We want to see a good character. I don't care if you're going out of your way to say he's a strong Asian. That's like treating me like I have a disability. Horrible. That's an awful way to treat people. Like, if I want to go out and watch a good movie, then it's a good movie, and I don't care what color skin the people are. I don't care what's in between their legs. I don't care where they want to stick what's in between their legs and other people's in between their legs. I don't care. I don't care. Just tell a good story. Freaking pandering to shit. Just do that. Can you do that? Can you figure out how to make a good bad guy and just tell a good story? The way, like, can you do that? Anyway, yeah, Blade, well, you got it right. Like, not coming out clean. I find it funny that Dragon Ball has it done right when they look like they're rib closed and almost broken. Yeah, Dragon Ball, as ridiculous as it is, they make sure every fight is an epic fight, and I can appreciate that. That's cool. Like, every fight is an epic fight. There's no, even the undercard fights are undercard fights. But yeah, that was one of my problems with it's like, because I was I was like pumped. I'm watching Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and I'm like, yeah, this is cool, man. Yeah, let's run with this. This is cool. And yeah, she's like strong. She's like Superman level strength. Awesome, man. Yes, that's what I want to see. And then you watch that fight, and you're like, what is she, fucking skating? Like, what is this shit? Like, what? Why is she happy? What the? Like, they're fighting Doomsday. What the fuck is it? Like that? Yeah, I'm sorry. It's late at night. I don't care. Yeah, you know what? I need to talk to some comic book people about that. I do. I need to reach out. I need to talk to them because I'm not a comic book guy. I was a long time ago, but we need to talk about. Like I need to be in some therapy or something. Like we need we need to talk about this shit. Like what the hell happened there? Why can't we just have a good fight? Like I just oh man, it's am I off base? I mean, did you guys watch that movie? Do you think that like was I just making that shit up in my head? It looked to me like there were three dudes fighting, and then there's Wonder Woman that's like, "Ha, this is so fun and exciting." Like she was thrill seeking. Like oh, I'm gonna go base jump or fight Doomsday. One of those two things, and I'm gonna be super pumped about it. That's what it looked like. Anyway, like what the crap? What the crap? And the Wonder Woman movie, the trailer for that looks pretty rad. It looks pretty awesome. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. This with a grain of salt because I just finished earlier saying that I don't like superhero movies. I don't like superhero movies, but I saw the trailer for Wonder Woman. And I'm like, that can be kind of cool. And this was before I watched the end of Batman v Superman. Kind of cool. Yeah, awesome. She's World War I. Yeah, do that shit. Looks great. And then I watched the end of Batman v Superman, and I'm like, please, please don't let it be like that. Please don't let Wonder Woman just be this total Mary Sue that nothing ever bad happens to her, because that's not a good movie. That's not going to be a good film, Hollywood. Okay? All right. I don't know what's going on. I just got to get all this stuff off my chest. I don't. We were talking about Boba and Star Wars, and here we go. We're just getting it all out. It's just a massive like vomit of things. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see if Jose and them watch this rant, and maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. Well, okay. Yeah, I probably am. Do I have a point? I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. And I think we are nearing the end of our stream here because all these things are done. Let's have a look at some of these actually before I turn off the camera, because these are interesting. First off, before we jump into these, I'll show off Harry. You guys might have remembered him from the time I painted him on my stream, probably a couple months ago. Very fun model. So I got commissioned to paint this Harry. They want a red and black color scheme. Eek. Which I'm not a fan of. I get that a lot. I get a lot of requests for like red and black color schemes, and I think this is just an awful scheme to paint. It's just not very fun. Anyway, so here's some Gloomhaven miniatures, and you can see I don't have to do that. What am I doing? Just make that focus at the right height, and there you go. So not a lot of humans in Gloomhaven. A lot of weird other races. Here's that like big dude. See a lot of art around this dude. Rar, he's like a demon guy. Here's like a dual wielding female demon. I think these two may be the same. They may be the same race because they have the three horns, and they kind of have that same grin. Maybe that's like the male and the female version. And then you get like weird. You have like some spellcasters. Like that's a spellcaster of some sort. Real angular head there. You got something that looks like Daggett from Battlestar Galactica. that had sex with a bear. One of those. That's what that looks like. Then you have a rogue guy. Yeah, he's got a sword back there. So you got that guy. You got this guy. He's kind of like a Logan-esque looking, like he's got the big full beard and like boxy hair. He's got like 3 or 4 spears in his hand. I don't know what that is. This lady here is like from like an armored nightcrawler almost. It's like a nightcrawler race of person. This guy might be a human. He has that anime hair, which is kind of cool. You got, the Thing / Groot. Like, Thing and Groot had a child, and he's going like Super Saiyan. Like there's that. You have this little bug-eyed crossbowman thing. I don't know what that is. Here's a Cthulhu Phantom of the Opera. He's got like Phantom of the Opera mask on right there, but it's actually, surprise, it's a Cthulhu thing. It should be a pretty easy paint. Then you got this. It was not really sure what that is, but she's like a rogue type, I guess, or like a warrior type. I think she's a rogue because she's holding like a bag of, like a purse, like she stole somebody's thing. Here's like an elementalist type wizard, like the water side and the fire side, and that's the fire side and the water side, like control the elements and things. And then you got this is like a, I don't even know what this is, like a kobold. Like, no, this is a player. No, that person, whoever gets this, is going to be very disappointed. That's my character. Yeah, you get to play a kobold or something. So you get that. Then you got I think this is a Skaven of some sort. I got a Prime down there. That's a problem. And you got this guy, who I think is the human, but he's just deeply inappropriate to me. The way he's like, what I don't know why. He's just holding that wrong. I like, what is he? What is that even? Like, what? He's gonna fight with that? Like, what is that? I don't know. Anyway. Oh, let me show you something cool. Hold on one sec. So yeah, if you don't follow me on social media, here's what I was working on today. I had paint day going on towards the end of this month, and I'm like, oh, we'll do chibi. So I painted this model. This is the arena champion from I just did a real simple job on her, kind of followed the box art, and she looks pretty cool. She's a lot of fun. Hadn't painted a chibi in a long time, and I paint hundreds of chibi, so that was fun. Anyway, it's late at night. I think we're gonna call it. So thank everybody for dealing with my rant there. And if I made any sense, cool. And if I didn't, for those of you who actually sit through it under the recording, leave me a comment. Tell me how dumb and how wrong I am. Tell me how small, how short-sighted I am. Or point, let me know. Did any of it make sense? Anyways, I want to thank everybody for watching. Have a good night, guys, and we will catch you on the next one.